Autoweb. Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Autoweb.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, the president of Dealer Synergy and the creator of the Internet Sales 20 Group Conference. And I'm really proud to announce this year's theme, Automotive Endgame, adapting to our new reality. Let me explain why this is so relevant and so important. If you guys watch the Avengers, right, and what happened? Thanos, he snapped his fingers and boom, half the world just disappeared. Well, this is kind of what happened with the whole COVID-19, the coronavirus. When that hit, it changed the world in an instant, forever. The good news is that there's a new normal now. And so what we want to do is go through all of the challenges that we're all still facing, and we are going to help you do more, be more, and achieve more. But there's also the other side of it. There's been a lot of things that have come from the pandemic that are not bad, that are good, and we're gonna talk about those. So I look forward to seeing you in Philadelphia in January at the IS20G14.
Discount code IS20G14BLIND20. Again, IS20G14BLIND20.
All right, everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley. Man, this is the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the Millionaire Car Salesman on Clubhouse. And I got a very special guest. I got my man, Nick Cossette, okay? Like a tape cassette?
Almost, yeah.
All right, good. Okay, so this is my man, Nick, Cossette right here, and he's with Growth and Operations with Matador.ai. And you know what? Let's just talk about that right there. I'm excited because when you have the letters AI in your company name, there's got to be something legit about this technology-wise. So AI stands for what? Artificial intelligence. Is that correct?
It is correct. And I'm quite happy that you bring that up because a lot of people ask themselves, what is AI? And that's a very important question because at the end of the day, it's just something very vague that can be diluted a lot. And I'm sure you've seen, Sean, we keep hearing people doing AI. So let's use today as an opportunity to go into details and talk about everything AI related, if you want.
Yeah, I want to get to that. But again, what I want to say is that today's conversation is how can we use technology to enhance the customer experience. Now, I want to build this up, folks. The reason why I think this is such a great topic is because the pandemic has caused, I call it the Avenger blip. When Thanos, snapped his fingers, that, again, the whole world changed. And I got to tell you, I don't care if you're a senior citizen in your 90s or you are a 6-year-old kid in first grade, you were affected with technology from Zoom, Google Classroom, your Samsung refrigerator that has a camera that could see when you run out of milk and automatically orders from Uber Eats or whatever it is, to having digital retailing and all this other technology. Human beings have been reconditioned, reprogrammed for the last year and a half on the way that we communicate, we celebrate, we shop, and we buy. And I think their expectations have changed. So I'm very curious from you, my brother, how do you feel that dealers should be utilizing technology in December of 2021, going into 2022, a brand new year? Talk to me.
Very good question. So I think that say we put ourselves in the shoes of a car or any type of retailer, we need to understand not only how we'll be able to leverage technology, but I think the most important thing is to understand how our end users, customers, are already using technology. Because guess what? They're already leveraging technology from their mobile devices. Amazon is the perfect example. So we need to being able to show some empathy and to realize that everyone's using technology. So how we can actually incorporate that in our day-to-day and to improve or increase the overall shopping experience. That's the most important thing.
So I agree. Give us specific examples, of what you mean. Because, when people hear AI, artificial intelligence, I think of like iRobot, and that's scary. Will Smith, And so you've heard Stephen Hawking's warning about AI and artificial intelligence and all this other stuff. So you're not talking about something crazy that's going to like take over the dealership like that. So be specific. So because remember, this might be in Facebook group right now, but it will be a podcast. And so people are going to be driving or in the gym or wherever they're at, listening to this, paint a picture for a blind person, explain clearly and simply, specifically what type of technology you're talking about.
Okay, so let me give you guys a very, very specific example. So I'm working out of a dealer as a BDC person on a day-to-day basis, or even a salesperson. I need to answer a lot of different inquiries. So with the use of technology, and like in that very specific example, we'll talk about, I don't want to get into details, but natural language understanding. So I'm a dealer, receives hundreds of emails, text messages. Now we have algorithms available so we can know exactly what people are asking. And say I roll out that algorithm, I look at your emails, Sean, or even your incoming text messages. I can easily tell you and recognize a couple of very redundant topics. And you'd be surprised that most of the inquiries are the same. People want to know if the vehicle is available. They want to get directions to go to the dealer. They want to know what are the business hours so they don't end up wasting their time. So applying one simple algorithm, I can not only identify what are those topics, but trigger some automated reply. So say I have a 99% confidence score that you're asking about directions. Why do I just enable something like an automated reply? These are our directions. Please let me know if this is what you were looking for. Because people expect to receive instant answers to their questions.
So you think that their expectations have evolved more since this pandemic?
Of course they are. You just mentioned it at the beginning, everything got fast-tracked. Because at the end of the day, technology always evolves and we evolve with technology. But what the pandemic changed is that it actually fast-tracked not only expectations, but just general behaviors. And I'm not sure if anyone noticed it. In some cases, you need to take a step back. But as retailers, we need to recognize that it's totally a different ballgame.
So when I hear of technology in enhancing the customer experience, let's go through certain things that frustrate prospects before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and then after this pandemic. I would say wasting time. Wasting time trying to find the vehicle that they're looking for, availability. Okay, and then identifying if they could qualify for this vehicle. You know what I mean? Do they qualify this vehicle because of their credit? Okay, or do they qualify for this vehicle? Can they afford this vehicle by the down payment, the monthly payment, or can they also, be able to get into this potential new situation based on their trade-in? Are they upside down? Do they have equity in the vehicle? What's the best scenario? And then, getting these not only approvals, but if there isn't an approval, the contingencies. Hey, there's a partial approval, there's a pre-approval, there's a conditional approval. Hey, we can't get you done, but there's so many things that are disjointed in the process of conception of I think I need or want a vehicle up to actually driving off the lot. And so technology should theoretically be able to organize all this stuff, simplify all this stuff, make it less aggravating, make it less time wasting, and actually make it enjoyable or fun, and at the very least simple. So one of the softwares that jumps in my head is like, there's different types of software that does this. There's, digital retailing. There's credit apps like soft credit pulls. There's trade-in software. There's vehicle acquisition software. There's, like following up, with leads. When leads come through, I was blown away when I found out from AutoWeb, right? Shout out to AutoWeb, that almost 50% of their leads, like these people have like 10,000 dealers on their program between the OEMs, whatever. 50% of the leads, that means like about 5,000 rooftops, do not even contact the prospect back within the first 48 hours. I almost fell out of my chair. I swear to God, like how in the world are we in 2021 and we have like this apocalypse happening, called COVID, and we still don't bother calling people back within the first 2 days? It blows my mind. So then having, CRM protocols that have automated action plans, drip campaigns, text messages, email templates, social media DMs. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So tell me, what has your company specialized in? What does Matador.ai specialize in? Do you specialize in all the automation, or do you specialize in a piece of it? I want to know.
Yeah, so good question. Thanks. We actually do a lot of things when it comes to automations. But one use case that every time that we roll out that to a new dealer, we see incredible lifts, is basically to attack the engagement rate. So we all know that dealers are generating hundreds of inquiries, like AKA leads, like on a weekly basis. Now, like people, they submit leads to multiple places at the same time. So like if you can manage to establish an interaction, an engagement, our point of view is that in order to create a relationship, you need engagement, like you need a meaningful conversation. And that's basically what we do. So we connect with incoming leads. We trigger a set of like automated SMSs, text messages, and we get the engagement. And that's pretty much it. That's something like we do a lot more than that. But just by doing that single change, I know for a matter of fact that it will have a big, big impact on number of opportunities, appointments, sold units too.
I would concur. So to be honest with you, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Let me give you some data that you don't even know that I have this. We track over 10 million outbound phone calls, per year, a minimum of 10 million. It's been as high as I think like 14 million. That's a lot of phone calls for my company to track from all of our clients nationally. And this is some interesting stuff that I found. In 2017, the connection rate from an outbound phone call, a BDC rep, like our number is 120 outbound phone calls without a predictive dialer, without any type of technology or a robo dialer or anything like that. We were seeing about a 14% connection ratio back in 2017. In 2019, it dropped down to between 9 to 10%. And then I seen it as low as even, 8% on average. Then when COVID hit in the very beginning, it actually jumped back up to actually higher because everybody was home. Nobody had anything else to do. And they were just desperate to talk to people. Yes, the car person. Yes. How are you doing? What are you wearing today? What are you hungry? And whatever. And then it turned out it was about I'd say about 13 to 15%. Now, where we are in, literally just like November 30th on 2021 is when we're recording this live on the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group. It's probably not going to air until December on the podcast, but I got to tell you, it's less than 10%. So let's just use 10% right now. Like, holy crap. In the middle of a pandemic, if I have 5 BDC reps, okay, making 120 outbound calls, okay, I could do the math. But again, that's 600 outbound calls. That means at a 10% connection ratio, 600 outbound calls, we're only going to have 60 conversations between 5 agents that day. That means 540 people are not going to even answer the damn phone. Now, here's what's crazy. Out of the 60, right? So we're going to take 60 times 0.33. That's only about 19.8. That's about 20 appointments. So let's go through this. Out of 600 outbound calls, at a 10% connection ratio, they're only going to speak to 60 people, and they're going to make at least about 20 appointments. So only 20 appointments divided by 5 reps. Okay, that's only 4 appointments per rep on average. So again, this is coming from a national trainer. Okay, I am very good at what I do. Okay, and I'm going to say this. I'm not trying to talk myself out of a job, but dealers, managers, automotive professionals, listen to this shit right here. I'm not saying instead of like, don't do this, but just follow my train of thought here. I'm just having fun for a second here. Instead of worrying about objections and rebuttals and closing, right? And getting higher percentages and higher appointments made, higher appointments showed, higher appointments sold, and all that shit you got to work really hard for. I mean, know what you need to do? Worry about getting more connections. Because if you do the math, right, it's an algebra equation. If you say that one rep is able to make 120 outbound calls, which is 12, conversations in a day for 4 appointments in a day, okay, do that times 22 employee working days for the month of November, for example. What you're going to find is if you just simply have more engagement, more conversations without doing a shred, not even a millimeter of evolution in making more appointments, more shows, more sales. If you don't, like, whatever your stat is, if you just kept it at that, just by getting more connections, you're going to instantaneously sell more cars. Nick, true or false?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Did you know 40% of service calls go to voicemail or hang up?
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
How many times does it take for your customers to connect with someone at your store?
The world may never know.
Unless you have CallSource customers connect with 96% of their clients' calls and convert over 85% of bookable calls to appointments. Really? If you're not performing at that level, or if you don't know, then text HELP to 855-963-2686 and receive a free evaluation of your store's performance.
True. And you know what? We still have a lot of people that focus on marketing. Like dealers, they keep investing big advertising dollars, but they don't realize that, like say we take your example, you run a successful BDC or even internet marketing sales team. If you have to deal with more inquiries and leads, this is not scalable. You need to hire more people because your ratio doesn't change. So unless you apply automation or you automate a couple of redundant tasks, such as those type of automated replies, you're not going to be making it. Like, it's going to cost you more to do more.
I would agree. Here's the reality. Unfortunately, there is a massive, I have to say this, it's an epidemic, pandemic, it's like the bubonic plague. It's just stupidity. Like, I don't understand myself, being in the business almost 23 years, that the average dealership spends about $64,000 a month in advertising, but they spend less than $1,000 a month for training, personal development, professional development, team building, anything like that. Think about that for a second. Your entire staff, your salespeople, your managers, your executive managers, your BDC reps, your receptionists, your F&I, your service writers, if you add all that shit together, all those people, the average dealership spends less than $1,000 a month in development, in training development. But yet we want to spend $64,000 a month in driving traffic there to people that are utterly unprepared and understaffed, undermanaged, underutilized, and that's the craziness. But then we wonder why we have a 70 to 80% attrition ratio. We wonder why every dealership in the country is always stressed about having sales reps or BDC reps. They either suck, or they don't do what they're supposed to do, or there's not enough, or there's this or there's that. And again, the reason why I'm saying this, people say, Sean, nobody's stupid. No, this is some stupid shit. And I could say that because I've been doing this for 23 straight years. And as a business owner, if you keep doing the same dumbass shit over and over again and expecting a different result, that's insanity. And I don't we've tried to be nice with dealers and try to say, here's a better way, Mr. Dealer, here's another idea, and they just don't listen. They still, no, I want to spend. I want to be on TV. I want to be on the radio. I want to see my name in lights. Instead of having the right amount of people, having the right processes, and having the right technology to be able to handle this. So I hands down, kudos to you guys, because I love the fact that you found a big problem. The problem is, like, think about this for a second. If you spend $64,000 to generate, let's just say 1,000 leads, right? Or even 800 leads. If you spend all that money to generate 800 leads, but all these people, whether you have the right amount of people or not, all this effort, all these emails, phone calls, text messages, social media DMs, video emails, video text messages, e-cards, Apple FaceTime, Skypes, video walkarounds, all of this inertia, all this energy, all this content you're sending out, guess what? The vast majority never get that shit, man. They don't get it. They don't answer the phones. They don't open the emails. They don't read that stuff. There's not enough engagement. So if we have software, which is what I'm hearing from Matador.ai, that allows the dealer to stack the deck in our favor by escalating communication, by creating more engagement. So can you tell us how it works? How do you do that? How do you get the reps? What is it? BDC reps that use this? Is it salesmen? Is it sales managers? Who does this?
We can work with BDC teams, like it could be virtual BDC teams or teams that have been built within the dealer. We can actually apply also to salespeople. So what we do is very simple. So we plug and play to the CRM so we can get a copy of every single inquiries. And now one thing that we do very cool is that we recognize that every single conversation shouldn't be treated the same. So we let the dealer to group their different lead providers. So maybe KBB, like everything finance credit, you want to put it together and to have like a different set of automation, different auto replies versus like something that would be a little bit more upper in the funnel, such as a car gurus or a true car type of lead. So like during the onboarding process, like we meet with the dealer and we'll ask them like, how would you like to reply to that inquiry? And we automate the whole thing. And we stop at the moment that we trigger that first interaction, because that's the challenging part. And then the rep can take over.
I love it. Can you give me an example? If you could use the name of a real dealer, I'd appreciate it. But can you give me an example of like a scenario that a dealership engaged, Matador.ai, what were they doing? What were their engagements? And then after like 30 days of them using you guys, what was the net lift, the net result?
Okay, I'm going to give you an example of a dealer that we've been working with longer than 2 years. So if you're Eastern, you might have heard of them. They have about 10. They're a big independent called agegreg.com, located in Doral, Miami. Here's what we did with them. They said that one of their challenges was the set to show ratio. So like they were capable of like booking and setting up a lot of appointments, but the set to show ratio was anywhere between 50 to 55-ish. So what we did is within their CRM dealer socket, we automated the notification, because think about it, like if you're a salesperson, like on a day-to-day basis, you can extract from your CRM the list of appointments. And like basically you need to call them, confirm appointments, making sure that everyone shows up. But people are not doing that much when it comes to getting some commitment from a technological standpoint of view. So let me give you an example of something we did very concrete. Every time that we set up an appointment in a CRM, we send an invitation that will trigger notifications as emails and text messages. Like most of the dealers, they already call people, they will send emails. When we switch over SMS, one thing we realize is that people, number one, over the phone, were not picking up their phone call, not returning voicemails. We're not opening emails for like appointment confirmation. Like who really cares about that? But the text message, simple, straightforward. Can I rebook? Can I reschedule? Yes, of course, I'll make it. So very, very simple. And what we did is we basically increased that set to show ratio from 55% to 75%. So just imagine if you can increase that at your dealer, the type of impacts it gives.
That's crazy. No, I'm like, woo, because I'm thinking about this. let's do some math. At a 50% that you had before, how many car sales would that be? Because it's just simple math. Because if you're able to go from 55% to 75%, just that 20% net lift in there would be literally, it would correlate to about a 20% net lift in the sales as well. It correlates. I mean, there's a cause and effect. Think about this. Every outbound attempt, the more people you call, the more connections. The more connections, the more appointments. The more appointments, the more shows. The more shows, the more sales. Hakuna Matata. This is the circle of life. This is a cause and effect. It's like an assembly line. So by identifying one of the pivot points or one of the lever points in this assembly line, which would be the engagement, if you're able to increase that, it's going to also increase everything else for each of the other stations that goes into the sale. Does that make sense, Nick?
Yeah, you got it.
Man, I'm a believer. All right, so a couple things really quick before I let you go. You are going to be, your company is going to be at the upcoming IS20G event in Philly, correct?
Sean, I can't wait to be part of that event. You and I, just before we got started on that call, like you showed me all those advertisements, endorsements, celebrities that will be there. So I think it's actually a huge opportunity, and we are very happy to be partnering with you in that.
All right, good. So are you guys going to be speaking, exhibiting, having a panel? What are you guys doing there?
Yeah, we'll be exhibiting, we'll be speaking. There's going to be Anne-Marie Johnson, our Director of Customer Success, that will be talking about overall customer experience and how we can leverage things with the use of technology.
All right, so for the dealers that are thinking about attending the IS20G and seeing Anne-Marie right there, so talk to me about like her session. What are people going to learn from your guys' session that you're going to have at the conference?
Something that we want to accomplish during that session is to make things very concrete. So to be able to give specific examples, like actionable items that as a car dealer I can implement easily, not necessarily like by buying like an additional piece of software, but like things that you can leverage, very accessible to everyone.
Yeah. So let me recap. Again, the whole conversation we had today was focusing on utilizing technology to enhance the customer experience. And at the end of the day, that's what technology is supposed to be for, is to make our lives easier, or our clients or our prospects or all of our lives easier. If we're able to create technology that enhances the customer experience. One of my good friends, he's a general manager for the Bravo Auto Group. It's Roy Davila. I don't know if you know Roy. Roy's a GM of actually a couple stores in Texas. And he talks about that competition is different now post-pandemic. It's if you want to win, you need to out experience your competition, especially like if you think about it, what is the one besides people and HR deficiency, what's another major problem everybody's having? It's inventory. So if you've got inventory, you're going to be able to sell cars. But let's say you have inventory, or especially if you don't have inventory, you got to try to switch to something that's not their first choice. How are you going to do that if you have a shitty process, or you make things elongated, or you frustrate your people? What I believe that dealers need to do, and I believe what I heard you say, is that dealers need to be very cognizant of their prospects, their wants, their needs, their expectations, and they need to provide not just good customer service. Good is not enough. Matter of fact, there's a book by Jim Collins that said, good is the enemy of great. We need to have great. We need to have superb, customer experience. We need to out-experience the competition if we want to evolve and win. And one of the best ways to do that is by utilizing the most advanced technology to be able to facilitate that. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah, you got it 100%, Sean.
All right, well, listen, how do people get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you, besides coming to the IS20G, which I'll get to?
LinkedIn would work. So Nick Cossette. Other than that, my email address, Nicolas@Matador.ai.
All right, perfect. And again, the Internet Sales 20 Group, also known as the IS20G Conference, this is our 14th annual event. is going to be between January 11th and 13th in beautiful Philadelphia. And we're going to be at the number one luxury hotel in all of Philadelphia is the brand new Live Hotel and Casino. It's the second casino ever in Philadelphia, man. So it's this gorgeous event, 11th to the 13th. There's going to be a lot of celebrities there from the TV industry, the movie industry, the music industry. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have the heads of Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, the heads of Pinterest, a lot of dealer principals and GMs like my friend Damon Lester, who is the president of the NAMAD Association. He's also the dealer principal of Nissan Abui. We're going to have Chuck Kramer. Chuck is the chief operating officer of a multi-billion-dollar dealer group called, the Foundation Auto Group. They are mostly in the United States and in Canada. We're going to have Danny Zalowski, the dealer principal of the Country Hill Motors Auto Group. We're going to have Rob Ruth, the dealer principal of Bob Ruth Ford. We're going to have, Roy Davila, the general manager of the Bravo Auto Group. We're going to have Jason Coons, the general manager of Platinum Ford. So there's going to be a lot of amazing, not just us vendors and trainers and subject matter experts, but there's going to be the best on the dealer level. Oh my God, Nick, I don't know if you know, but Cody Carter, the number one salesperson in the world right now, he sold like 154 cars on the showroom floor, is going to be there. The number one female salesperson, again, is Chrissy Burton, right, out of Indiana. She sold like 63 or 65 cars on the showroom floor. So we're going to have the best of the best dealers, the best managers, the best automotive professionals, the best vendors, the best technology to help you sell more cars more often, more profitably. So any last words, Nick, before I let you go?
One thing I like about the event, like it's scheduled in Jan. So like that's a perfect way to kick off the year. Like you want to start with all that positive energy. So cannot wait to meet with you and everyone there.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, we strategically did this. I was the keynote at Digital Dealer in Vegas. I'm going to be keynoting NAMAD in a week, like on Monday. I'm going to be in Miami keynoting the National Minority Dealer Association Conference. And so like we've been on tour right now. And then that's why we did January. Your exact point is this, because this is the first event that we've done, since COVID. It's been almost 2 years because of COVID. So I wanted to give people a tactical strategy for the entire 2022. So we're going to start in the very beginning of January 11th to the 13th. We're going to spend 3 days with the most successful, the most powerful, and the most brilliant people in the world in our industry to synergize, to collaborate, and to strategize and come up with an action plan, how once they leave this conference, they're going to be able to implement all these amazing ideas like this one that we talked about today, which is how to utilize technology, artificial intelligence, to create an unfair advantage and by, truly maximizing the customer experience. Okay? My man, I appreciate you. Stand by.
Thanks so much for having me.
Perfect. Everybody, I'm going to switch now off of the live stream and I'm going to close out with my guests here, but I appreciate you tuning in and make sure you check out the podcast and cop your tickets, man. You're going to be all upset watching all these celebrities on YouTube and like, I should have bought my ticket. It's going to sell out like it always does. So get your tickets now.
Where do all the top car dealers go to get the best ideas to help more customers buy cars using the internet? It's the Internet Sales 20 Group, of course.
Everybody selling cars on the internet. Everybody selling cars on the internet. Everybody selling cars on the internet.
So go to InternetSales20Group.com. That's InternetSales20Group.com. Because
everybody selling cars on the internet. Why not you?
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And remember, where I'm from, money provides options. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is sponsored in part by AutoWeb and Call Review. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.